believe that you really, really need to, look at it as an entrepreneur who's always, managing, uncertainty and challenge.
Meher and Zia and Mr. Parekh.
I think I could.
Also, one quick point I think which I would want to check with Kiran is that you mentioned this point that
has to stop. That gap has to reduce. I don't see it reducing even in the Nifty 50 companies, in the financial sector, where you have so many women working. So, we have these issues of gender gap, we have issues of encouraging more women entrepreneurship, and we have a huge task. And with your coverage of your newspaper, Mr. Goenka, you should take this as an objective of how to make more women leaders in India.
Just one question.
They are going to impact the industry as well as how it will probably affect profitability of companies, and also how women should be building for scale as well as the access to capital. So all of these points discussed by the panel, and now it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the esteemed jury of the 2025 Awards for Women Entrepreneurs, brought to you by the Express. Let's have a look at the jury AV and the process they went through for this year's awards.
The jury for Express Awards for Women Entrepreneurs. Deepak Parekh, Chairman, HDFC Asset Management Company Limited and former Chairman, HDFC Limited. Preetha Reddy, Executive Vice Chairperson, Apollo Hospitals.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's an applause for Isha Mani Piramal. May we request her to come up on stage. She's been driving Reliance Retail to new heights, and also the brand Tira, and also bringing a lot of global brands to India now through Reliance Retail. Can we have a few words from you, ma'am, please?
Thank you very much, and thank you to this jury, many of whom have inspired me all my life. Zia, Mami, Deepak, Uncle, thank you so much, and thank you, Anant. I am really lucky to be raised by parents who truly believed that I was no different from my brother, and if at all, I felt like I was the only child in my family. So I had, much like what Zia Mami said, my parents always made me feel, maybe unfairly so, but superior to my brothers. So if there was a choice between an opportunity, it would first come to me, and for that I will forever be grateful. I was equally lucky to be married into a family where there was no uncertainty on who the boss is, Swati auntie, and I've followed in those footsteps, and I've had the most encouraging husband. And triply lucky to be surrounded by a support system of sisters like Shloka over here and Radhika over here, who have built the ecosystem for me, who I can, rely on with my children, with, just having fun and just knowing that I have my sisters by my side wherever I go. Finally, I'd like to dedicate this to my two girls, Adya and Veda. And I hope that in their lifetime, they don't even have a discussion of girls or boys, and that it is all just truly very equal. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Isha. And I request the... Sure, you can take the mic here. Anand wants to say.
Sorry, I really can't lose the opportunity. I'm going to sort of put him on the spot. Can we get a mic to him, please? Sorry, I hope you don't mind. No, I think the first thing we want to hear from you is just tell us something about Isha, which that she's impressed you with.
Well, Anand, let me first start by congratulating you and you are the only one who can actually make me speak at a public forum ex tempo. And that's like, I've known Anant for a long, long time through Dolly. So first, congratulations for really putting women entrepreneurship at the forefront. And I think that it was late, and like the Indian Express, even I am a late bloomer in appreciating women and entrepreneurship. And I have to really give credit for that to uh, Isha and Neeta. They were the two who, in the last decade, have actually opened up my mind. And I think that, like, we are now celebrating women entrepreneurs as newsmakers. There will be a time where this award will be, they will be history makers, not only for their industries, but for their countries and for civilization as a whole. So I hope that one day you will celebrate them as history makers. To just give you a perspective, and I think that what Deepak Bhai and others said, right? We're involved in industry for a long time. Even industry is moving from hardware to software, right? And intelligence is at the forefront of everything that we do. In the same way, right, uh, women bring with us, and as most women that I admire are winning the award today, and I know most of them, and what they said on the panel is that the world is moving to a more compassionate, a more loving, a more empathy-filled world. And Isha always tells me that it's not survival. So now this is Isha's piece. It's not survival of the fittest. It is really survival of the kindest. And that is the impact she has on me. She grades my meetings, so now I'm giving you all the meat. So when we do meetings together, I have to then look at her and saying, "Dad, this is a D." So I said, "What happened?" So she's perpetually grading me in terms of that. So in a sense, I already have a boss in terms of all the meetings that we do together. And I think that, there are many, many silent initiatives that Isha has, both in Reliance Industries, not only in retail, but as a group as a whole, which she's behind, and we will see results of that in a few years, I hope. And fundamentally, like, we are fortunate at Reliance that we are giving women leaders, right, the space very much at the forefront. And as a founder, I am very happy that we've done it. Most of our big institutions, our hospital in Mumbai, which we are all very proud of, was built by Neeta and is run by a woman leader. Our foundation is run by a woman leader. NMACC is an all-women team. So in a sense, yes, women entrepreneurship is coming to fore, and all of us will believe in it. So congratulations, Isha, and congratulations to all the other winners. I have always admired Malika. I mean, all your winners is something that I have admired, and I was, when Anand told me that you should come, actually, Mr. Jagannathan, I saw your, all the women who had won, and Kiran's a dear friend for a long time in terms of what we want. Kiran Rao also. Vani, like, if you talk about startups and all that, like, for us, she's where we've got the highest returns, and we've also met women entrepreneurs with her. So you've chosen the right jury, you've chosen the right winners. So congratulations once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All the entrepreneurs who are winning or want to win next year.
You win in the mind always, and it doesn't matter who you are, right? The important thing is you win in the mind, and I believe in what Zia said, that you just have to go for it. You will never succeed on the first attempt, but keep at it, you will ultimately win.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Alina, we'd love to hear from you as well. If you could, we'd love to hear from you, please.
Is there like a hand mic? So the real winners are right there and right here. I'm the most useless person at Mitti Cafe. I go to Mitti Cafe to eat. That's about it. These guys are the real leaders. I just started Mitti when I was in college with the dream of showing the world the magic of abilities. There was this one documentary that changed my life. I meet this guy called Nero. So Nero was an emperor in the ancient Roman Empire, mighty rich. You see, he would win one war after the other, and one day Nero wins the biggest battle of his life. And when you win, what do? You party. So he decided to throw a party and he invited the who's who of Tinseltown. He invited kings and queens, princes and princesses from across 7 kingdoms. And as evening befell, Nero said, "Boss, we need some lights to make the party happening and rocking." So he decided to burn waste, kachra, to generate light. He decided to burn the prisoners of war and the poor people who he captured, who he considered not more than waste. And the problem that I realized then, sitting in that classroom, was that the problem was not Nero, because you could equate Nero with atrocities, injustice, discrimination, all the not so nice things that you see in this world that will always exist. You know what the problem was? The problem was Nero's guests, as to how thousands of them could sing, dance, and drink when fellow human beings burned and died. And at that point of time, that 22-year-old realized that I was one of Nero's guests. That is, if you feel something about anything, and if you're not willing to take action, then you've taken a side. And unfortunately, that side is that of the oppressor. I started Mitti with 0 startup capital and multiple rejections. 90% of our equipments, right from the spoon, second-hand oven, second-hand fridge, were all donated by people like y'all, by the community. Our first employee, she came in crawling for the interview because her family could not afford a wheelchair. Today, that same girl, she sits on her wheelchair and she manages 10 other people with disabilities. She's the manager for our first cafe, and her name is Kirti. As I talk to you, we have so many Kirtis right here, creating awareness about inclusion with every meal or beverage that one serves. So from that small table and that umbrella, which was our first cafe, today we are the largest chain of cafes in the world to be completely managed by adults with disabilities. And thank you so much for all your support. Thank you.
Just to the audience who are not aware, Mitti Cafe, they provide snacks and tea and coffee, and they're there outside airports in number of cities of India. And recently, last year, the Chief Justice of India, Chandrachud, when he was the Chief Justice, he asked them to open a cafe in the Supreme Court. And they've opened a cafe run by their colleagues at Supreme Court of India. And it's a great honor to be working with you.
Supported by y'all.
Supported by. With many others.
It's really, really grateful for everything. And thank you, Papa, Mummy, all are at the back, and my in-laws, and my husband, and my 2-year-old, and the one that's coming. Thank you for all your support. And thank you, guys.
In the Sustainability Award, very well deserved, and no question of the effort, etc., that you've put in it to actually make 5,000 villages drought free, to be able to mobilize so many volunteers, to really help in such a deeply important and vital task of water conservation. And just knowing who you are, I can imagine the passion and energy that goes with it. So keep it up. We are proud of you and Pani Foundation, and this award is very well deserved.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Kiran Rao, who is not only a filmmaker but is also now conserving water and has made a huge difference to the state of Maharashtra with her efforts, the Pani Foundation. Could we have a few words from you as well?
Thank you so much, Anand. Thank you to the Express Group. Thank you to the wonderful jury. Really grateful to receive this. Honestly, it's lovely to receive something for the non-profit work we do. I kind of expected that it was, when I first heard about it, that it was for film. But honestly, I think the most important work we do is through Pani Foundation. It's an initiative, actually, it's a non-profit company that we started in 2016, Amir and I. And initially supported by Mukesh, by Deepak Bhai, by everybody who really believed that that Maharashtra could be drought free, and we all needed to work together to achieve that. After we had 4 years of very, very successful water cups in drought prevention and watershed management, we moved on to sustainable agriculture, which is actually our next goal, which is to make agriculture both profitable and ecologically sustainable. We started with a smaller number of talukas, and now this year onwards we're going to the whole of Maharashtra, and we really want everybody's help to do this. We've had an incredible year, and you'd all be very happy to know that the idea is group farming. It's farming in what we call Gatasheti, which is farming in groups. And of course, apart from reducing input costs and improving productivity, what it's also done is bring a lot of women farmers to the fore. We have more than half, about 60% of the farming groups are women farmers groups. And lots of the final prizes we had earlier this year at the Farmer Cup were won by all women's groups. And these are women, some of them who hadn't left home, who had never actually felt the real ownership of the land that they worked on. They were always seen as labor. And I think this is our great pride and an achievement that we all really, really believe will move the needle when women actually become economically independent, when they are able to take ownership of the work that they do and are given decision-making power. So I'm deeply grateful, and I take this on behalf of all the women that have worked in the Farmer Cup. This is for you and for all your continued efforts, and we look forward to working with all of you to take it across all of Maharashtra. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. And thank you, Sanya, and thank you, Mr. Parikh. For the next set of awards, I'd like to invite on stage Ms. Kiran Majumdar-Shaw to give away the next award. And along with her, I'd also like to invite Ms. Sunila Patil, co-founder and chief product officer at Veena.
So many wins, all of which are due not only to the youngsters who work hard, but also to your perception and insight as to how.
Supply of fresh and seasonal produce to the restaurants and running a zero waste kitchen. Congratulations, Gauri.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Gauri Devi Dayal of the Food Matters Group. She calls herself an accidental co-founder, but this award was not accidental, it was deliberate.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to the Indian Express Group and the jury, very esteemed jury. This was a huge thrill to find out about this. I grew up as one of 3 sisters, and so the first sort of people I want to thank are my parents, who I think brought us up as the sons they never had. And the second person I'd like to thank, or rather the third, is my husband, who's sitting here, who yanked me out of the corporate world and encouraged me to take this plunge into entrepreneurship. It's been quite the ride. I think 2 things I want to say, which has been my biggest learning as a woman entrepreneur, is firstly, it is important to have the support of family to encourage you to take these risks and pursue your dreams. But I think more important than that is to firstly believe in yourself and to believe that you're equal and not to feel like you're at any kind of a disadvantage because of your gender. So I think, we need to believe in that ourselves. And the second thing I want to say is that, um, you know, I always tell women, take full advantage of the fact that you're a woman. Today we have awards that are specially for us. We get a seat at a board table because of our gender. So don't be offended that you're getting it because someone needs to tick a box. Just take full advantage, get that seat, and then show them what you're worth. So yeah, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
First philanthropic private museum of modern and contemporary art. She is the recipient of several honors and accolades, both national and global. Congratulations, Kiran ji, on an incredible journey.
And no less an icon herself, we have Roshni Nadar here, who is the chairperson of HCL Tech, to collect the award on behalf of Kiran Nadar. And if you have the opportunity, do visit the KNMA Museum of Art. It's just beautiful. Earlier for social impact with her Mitti Cafe and the work that she's doing with specially abled people and giving them employment around the country. We have Kiran Rao, who is, of course, with the Pani Foundation. She's creating a huge impact in conserving water in the state of Maharashtra. And besides being a filmmaker, she's focused on conserving water in the state. And then we have Anu Aga, who is, of course, a legendary woman entrepreneur herself. She was the chairperson of Thermax, and in conversation with Anand Gwenka, executive director of the Indian Express Group. Please come on stage. Thank you so much.
Okay, this is I don't think there's a more qualified panel to talk about womanhood than these three incredibly successful women business leaders. And I don't think there's a more unqualified person to host this conversation than me. So I think, if we can just think about this conversation as Womanhood for Dummies 2025 edition. I think that's literally what I want to get out of this conversation. If I can ask each one of you to tell us, what does womanhood in the year 2025 mean to you? And how is it different from 30 years ago, which is, exactly when the youngest panelist on this panel was born? What the definition of womanhood, how much has that changed today and 30 years ago? So if I can maybe start, Anu, with you.
I think one of the biggest...
Honestly, I think I agree with what Anu said. Today's, the world is very different than, say, 30 years ago when Alina was born. And we're very grateful for all the changes. A lot of what we did 30 years ago, as Anu said, was very much determined by the expectations of us as women, by certain sort of prescribed limits that society had set for your hopes, your dreams, the ceiling that was there on our ambition. There was a decent girl. There was the women who did what they were meant to do, which is get married, settle down, have children. And I think that conditioning continues for many, many, I would say, areas and classes of women, even to this day. That we have come to this place where it is possible to dream, that it's possible to actually get out of these set expectations is our great achievement, I think. In 30 years, we have so many more women in this room, entrepreneurs across the country, women doing so many things. So womanhood for me today looks, like you said, what does it look like? What does it mean? It means hope to me today. I think we can all collectively hope that we are going to definitely see more women in every area, walk of life, every sort of position in companies. And I think we are all, as women, also in a position to make that hope come true.
You were born in a post-liberalized India. Everything, the imagination itself kind of changes. Kiran, school in Calcutta, college, undergrad in Bombay, and grad school in Delhi. And if you've seen Lapata Ladies, you know that she's thought about women, extensively. How do you think about it?
Anand, I've always believed that the only form of development that exists is
Interesting. She said that, look, every time we talk about womanhood and all we always put the corporate in the middle, and there's a limit to really what the corporate can do. I mean, okay, you can do work from home, you can do crash, you can do whatever. These are my words, not hers, the crash and the work from home piece. But, there's a, so I thought if we can kind of play a kind of a game where I ask you guys to think your definition of womanhood. You said the word hope beautifully. I'll list 4 institutions. One is family, other is economy, third is politics, and the fourth is society. Maybe can each one of you share, and I'll start with you, because you touched on this. Let's start with family. Where is family coming in the way of your definition of womanhood 2025, and where is it helping?
So when I started my journey at Mitti, I did go to a lot of folks asking for support. And they asked the simple question. And
The structure as an institution, especially in India, is trying to keep up with womanhood 2025, right? And I think your film is showing it so beautifully. But I think there is a structural issue that comes very often, right? The male head of the family.
Yeah, it's called patriarchy. The structural issue. And I think that is, what we heard from a lot of the panelists today, what Anu is saying. I mean, it's sort of did you have some other question? Sorry, Anand. It's these, sort of rules that have been laid for hundreds, if not thousands of years of what women should do and can do and should want. And we are breaking those barriers down, and we have to break those barriers down. I completely agree with Alina. There's always, people who won't believe. There'll be people who will put up challenges. But when it comes to family, for instance, Anu herself said that, her family didn't believe that she could be an entrepreneur. I think it begins with how we raise our sons. And it begins with, allowing our daughters I was raised in a family of daughters, so actually I don't know what it would be like to have a brother, in the sense that I'm told that you'd never know how they would raise you until you have a brother. Because then, girls are sort of corseted and boys are told you have to go out and win the world. But I was told I could go out and do what I liked, and I was encouraged to, sort of find my feet, to be economically independent. And I can't thank my family enough for laying that sort of pressure at my door that, look, you got to look out for yourself. Yeah. And which girl has the privilege of having that decision, to make? How do I get out and look after myself? And I think with boys, it's really, as a mother now of a son, I think it's more important than ever that as a family we raise our sons to be aware of what their responsibility is when it comes to women in their organization, women in their class. How do they treat the girls around them? How do they talk about them? Even now we've seen there's a lot of talk about adolescence, the show, and about what goes on in schools and what teenage boys are like, and the kinds of sort of icons and models that they might have. And it's more important than ever, I think, for us as families to look to, not just raising our sons, but creating an environment where there is equality in the home, where it's not just your sisters or your mother who lays the table, who clears the food out, who decides what's to be made, Why does the cook never ask the father ki khane mein aaj kya banana hai? You know, it's always the woman who gets asked this question. Why can we not change those rules in our families? And I think, you know, we've at least among privileged people who have, you know, who are not fighting every day to kind of, you know, put food on the table, we can definitely create that environment beginning at home.
Yeah. The next institution maybe I thought we can talk about is politics. You know, where do you think politics is trying to catch up and succeeding, and where is it failing?
We in India always boast of India.
Well, I think when it comes to politics, I would say that we need a much younger generation of politicians. I hate to be ageist about this, but I feel that a brand new sort of, I would like to say, under 60 even generation of young politicians, I feel are open perhaps to ideas of inclusion. The idea that 33% is even enough is sometimes sad, but we haven't got there in terms of representation at a national level is something that I really hope would change. I think you know, when in politics we're just accustomed to the sort of, you know, the 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 sort of elderly male patriarch kind of figure leading whether it's you know, at the state level, at the taluka level, even at a panchayat level. So like they said that the woman might be propped up, but often it's called panchpati. So, you know, for that to happen, I think a lot more young people, especially young women, need to join politics. That's the only way we would actually see that change.
I just want to make a remark that for you in politics, young means just below 60 perhaps.
Very interesting insight. Actually, I didn't have that insight, but I do think that it's a question of, you know, over decades and, you know, over time, just seeing these icons that have been set up for us that are all men. And it's almost as if we've come to not trust ourselves to be able to lead. It comes from a sense of underconfidence that a woman could do that job as well, if not better. And I think that's not just, that it didn't just happen overnight. This has been patriarchy's great success, that they don't have to do anything anymore. They've just set, you know, we've all been set up to believe that a man will save the day. When we know for a fact that women, you know, in every field that they enter, excel, because they work, most people find that they work harder, they're more trustworthy, they're more compassionate and empathetic, they're good co-workers. But somehow in politics, because maybe people see it as a sort of male-dominated and slightly dirty field, it's kind of the idea that it's almost like a battlefield, and women wouldn't perhaps do well there. And it's therefore just a sense of perception which we would only be able to fight if we had more women be encouraged to join, and parties actively enlist women who are dynamic, who actually want to be in politics and not just tick that box, you know.
Sure. Alina?
I'd second everything that Anu ma'am and Kiran.
Wars that we had. The professional clock, and the biological clock are at complete conflict. Women cannot have it all. Do you agree? Yes or no?
To an extent.
Kiran?
Honestly, it's no. I don't.
With the present setup, yes.
Okay, super. And the last question I want to, the one feminist argument that you thought did a disservice, the one feminist or feminist argument that you thought did a disservice to your opinion or to your view of womanhood 2025?
We are the weaker sex.
Okay, super.
The feminist argument that I disagree with?
That you disagree with, you went too far, that you think went too far, that you think was doing a disservice to the cause?
Oh, we haven't gone far enough.
Okay. Yeah?
Compassion compassionate leadership doesn't exist.
Super. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for the lovely panel. Thank you so much. We're going to get on to some more awards. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Anand, and sorry for rushing you because we have a couple of award winners who have flights to catch, and we really had to move on with that. So yes, women entrepreneurship. When we talk about women entrepreneurship, I just want to quickly give you a little anecdote. The movie English Winglish, we had Sridevi's character in that, where she couldn't really speak English. Awards. It'll be great to have everyone of the jury here on stage. The next award category that we have for this evening is in fashion and lifestyle. Can we have the video?
Masaba Gupta has been described as a virtuoso in the fashion world. She embarked on her very exciting journey at a young age of 19 and has developed a very unique and creative brand that spews both oomph and pizzazz. Masaba has developed her own unique design language that defines her unconventional style. Over the years, the House of Masaba has certainly emerged as a signature fashion brand of great distinction. And for this, we the jury have unanimously selected Masaba Gupta as this year's awardee under the fashion and lifestyle category. Congratulations, Masaba. Well deserved.
A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Masaba Gupta. And I should also ask her, how do you Masaba? For those who don't know, she also runs a podcast which says, How I Masaba. Please come on stage for the award. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Indian Express, and Anand, thank you for pushing me to come. I'm a new mum and a slightly anxious one, so my husband is babysitting my 5-month-old daughter as we speak. But, you know, I've always believed that it's a great time to be a woman, and now I believe that even more. I think that women are not just recognizing their power, they're also owning it, voicing it, and I think that that's incredible. And earlier I was hearing the panel with Kiran and Anant was mentioning how can women have it all. I think women can have it all if they don't feel guilty about it, and I'm trying to be a little bit more of a less guilty person as I keep going forward in life. Thank you so much. This means a lot. It's never easy to come up here and say things that mean something, but it's a very powerful room to be a part of. So I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you. We just have a couple of more awards to go.
Ekta is a blend of being true to her craft of delivering innovative and creative content while making a mark in the entertainment world through her television shows, while at the same time also displaying an entrepreneurial zeal and running a profitable entity listed on the bourses. Ekta, a Padma awardee, has also spotted new talent, launched and nurtured them, and despite coming from a distinguished family of artists and stars, has carved out her own niche. Congratulations, Ekta.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Ekta Kapoor. We've all watched Balaji Telefilms productions, and also she made the transition to OTT with Alt Balaji, and here she is.
Thank you so much for giving me this award. The esteemed jury is a group of people that I have always looked up to. Thank you, Anant. Thank you, the Express Group. I'd like to say this because it's really true. Young, being a mother myself, the first thing I realized when I became a mother and I started taking the responsibility of another human being was I felt something called guilt. And as Masapa just said, we all can do what we want if we feel a little less guilty, a little more responsible and a little less guilty. And I don't know how we'll manage that balance, but I'm sure we'll manage. We need women at work, but we need less guilty mothers at work also. And with that, I'd like to say thank you to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ekta. Congratulations once again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the last award of the evening, this one is for Lifetime Achievement.
She is fuels like hydrogen and CNG, a champion of technology who has kept the small and marginal farmer at the center of her mission. Malika Srinivasan is also known for her philanthropy. She has supported pediatric cancer care and provided free eye treatments for the underprivileged. For her extraordinary contributions in many fields, we are proud to honor Malika Srinivasan with a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Malika Srinivasan, Chairperson and Managing Director of Tractors and Farm Equipment Limited, was a unanimous choice for the Lifetime Achievement Award. As a professional entrepreneur, her journey is unique as it spans both agriculture and industrial manufacturing. And both these sectors are critical for us for the Indian economy. One recognizes that doing business in these critical sectors comes with challenges. But what stands out is a strategic vision, a strong leadership, and deep commitment to the small and marginal farmers that has earned her recognition and accolades in India and globally. Congratulations, Malika.
May we have Malika Srinivasan on stage. In fact, one of the first tractor brands I actually sat on was a Massey Ferguson tractor when I was a kid, and I remember that very, very well. No, I didn't buy one. We also have a portrait. It's made by Shyam Kumar Prasad, the Chief Illustrator at Financial Express, for our Lifetime Achievement Award winner. And I'd also like to call on stage Mr. Venu Srinivasan, the Chairman Emeritus of TVS Motor Company, to say a few words about Malika.
Thank you, members of the jury. Thanks, Anant. It's very, I have to really look for some words. But various speakers today, Zia and some of the other speakers, Kiran Rao, all spoke about Masaba. They all spoke about the guilt. But I think Malika did multitasking in a way that I have seen very few people do. She ran the household with precision. She brought up the kids, made sure that they did their homework, studied for their exams and topped their classes, and ran her business to great heights. So she's an extraordinary, multifaceted individual. And I must say on behalf of me, Lakshmi, Sudarshan, that we are extremely proud of her and her accomplishments.
We'd also like to hear from Malika as well. Yeah, please come. Please come.
Good evening. I was a bit nervous when that mic was given to Venu. I was not quite sure what he was going to mention, especially when he took off about the children and the home and everything. But thank you. Thank you. That went off pretty smoothly there. So thank you very much. So good evening, everybody. I am very humbled and privileged to receive this prestigious award from the Express Group and from a jury where each one is a luminary, an iconic achiever in his or her own right. So thank you. To receive it from you all is a special honor. Thank you very much. I was listening to all the speakers earlier today, and actually, as I stood here, my mind went back, flashed back to 1984, when I landed in Philadelphia on a cold, wet, windy morning, stepped out into the streets of Philadelphia, carrying my little Lakshmi in a portly, in a pink hooded, fur-lined onesie, and as I made my way to the Wharton School. That moment was a very important milestone event, and as I reflect back, I think I owe a lot to three people in my life, and I'd like to thank them today. A lot of you spoke about your mother, and at the end of the evening, I'm left feeling that those mothers were really the critical factors behind all of us succeeding. So first, I'd like to mention my mother, Indra, for her encouragement, her active engagement, and very hands-on support she gave in equipping me with the education that she was convinced would serve well in my entrepreneurial efforts. And today, as I